going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and happy Thanksgiving to anybody out there that is celebrating throughout the fucked up year that is 2020. If you guys have a couple of minutes while your food is going down, hopefully you could tune in for the latest information about Black Ops Cold War Zombies DLC. We have a lot to break down today, from the release date of DLC 1, debunking some fake news, some new Victis teasers surprisingly, and a surprise that nobody has heard yet on YouTube. But before I jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because about 80% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So make sure you guys are getting notifications every time I update you on Black Ops Cold War. Now hopefully this video doesn't magically get taken down like a couple of my other videos did, since nothing that is shown or heard in this video will be copyright protected. The source is of course Activision, and some of the information does come from several news outlets that get millions more views than I do, so it would be silly to see this video taken down. But if it does happen, I'll have to yet again take legal action and have the video reinstated just like before. Now when it comes to the release date of DLC 1, it does look like as of right now, Black Ops Cold War may in fact have a similar DLC schedule to Black Ops 3. Not just because Black Ops Cold War released at a similar time to Black Ops 3, but the GOAT himself, Tom Henderson, actually went out and said that we shouldn't expect a new Zombies map until around February. Now if you guys remember, the Rising Drac was supposed to release in January, but ended up releasing in February instead, so we could be on pace to have a similar release window to that game. Now we also know that Season 1 of Black Ops Cold War will not introduce us to a brand new Zombies map until further notice, since the teaser roadmap that we got thus far doesn't show a new Zombies experience aside from a new Zombies game mode. Now I'm sure we'll end up learning what the new Zombies game mode is in the next couple of weeks or so. I heard something about a Zombies outbreak, but we'll have to wait and see what that exactly means. Hopefully it's a very replayable mode that can really ignite the flame for zombies yet again, since the Maschine has been a bit of a hit for the zombies community and even for people out there that don't normally play zombies. But if you just focus on zombies on its own, I could understand why you're already burned out with the Maschine. Black Ops Cold War is just like Black Ops 4 in the sense that it's intended for you to play all modes in the game, because if you do that, there is plenty of content to go around until Season 1 starts and until a new Zombies map releases in maybe 2 months or so. I mean, February is quite a bit away, so I would not be surprised if mid-season during Season 1 we could end up seeing a surprise Zombies map. I know Black Ops 4 released in October and Dead of the Night came out in December, so as of now January should probably be the target release window for a new map. But again, we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening. Maybe COVID ended up impacting the DLC schedule in some way, shape, or form. Now it's also been reported by CharlieINTEL and several other outlets that we do have a couple of different perks that have been uncovered that may end up releasing for Black Ops Cold War Zombies at some point soon. The perks are the following: Tombstone, Mule Kick, Double Tap, and PhD Flopper. Now, with that being said, as of recently, or I should say the last year, a lot of people out there have been trying their absolute best to gain as much clout and attention as possible by data mining. Now, what's funny and ironic about it is that a lot of the assets that get data mined sometimes are usually legacy assets from previous Call of Duties, leftover code so to speak, or, you know, most of the time too, data miners end up misinterpreting information, so it makes things even sillier. Now, when it comes to the perks, I'm not sure if they are legacy assets from a previous Call of Duty. They could be, but if we end up seeing those perks at some point in Black Ops Cold War, it does make sense considering the Wonder Fizz machine does have 4 extra slots that have not been used, so they can easily be used in the future. I think it might be a Black Ops 2 situation where when a new Zombies map releases, a new perk also drops and that perk machine will be on that new map. But this time, if you want to use some of the newer perks on older maps, you have the Wonder Fizz to be able to do that. So I think that's a possibility right there. Now when it comes to Tombstone, that's a perk that I don't really see much of a point in buying. I mean, there's no perk limit anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter, but they should end up just incorporating a lost and found type system similar to Infinite Warfare. Now with Mule Kick, that's a perk that I'm sure a lot of people do want to see return. I think it would have great use in this game. Now PhD Flopper is a perk that I guess would be quite useful, but if they end up adding any extra tier upgrades to some of the perks, I'm sure they could just incorporate PhD Flopper as an upgrade for Stamina Up or Quick Revive or something at some point. That's possible too. But with Double Tap now, this one confuses me because we already have up to 3 ways to upgrade your weapon in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, right? You can pack a punch 3 times, you can get a higher weapon rarity, and you can even upgrade the weapon class using Ethereum crystals. So how much more damage can we end up doing with our weapons if we end up getting Double Tap on on top of that. Maybe they're going to incorporate it because of community feedback that double tap is the only classic perk that hasn't returned, but then again, nobody's really complaining about that since double tap has returned just in a different form through those 3 upgrade systems I mentioned, and it was like this in Black Ops 4 where double tap was acquired through max packing a weapon. So let's just see what their plans are with these perks going forward. I would not be surprised at all to see a new perk with every zombies map. Now, other quote-unquote data miners have claimed that Apocalypse is the name of the next zombies map, and that is confirmed fake news since in the files of the game, Apocalypse is a multiplayer asset. And what's silly about that is that it's very clear to distinguish what is a multiplayer asset and what is a zombies asset. So I'm not sure how somebody ended up thinking it was zombies and then passed that on to the community. It's just unfortunate, like with TikTok as well, how so much misinformation gets thrown around about Call of Duty news to the point where so many people start believing it and then get confused when the truth ends up coming out shortly after that. It is so frustrating, but when it comes to data mining overall, I'm sick of it. I mean, it's been a joke for the past year and a half. I'm not sure what's went wrong with the Call of Duty franchise, like with Modern Warfare and Black Ops Cold War now, to where legitimately anybody with a computer can go ahead and data mine, find upcoming season content, play maps early. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I hope going forward with the franchise, data mining sort of slows down a bit to where once in a while you see something, but not every single week just everything is out there. I mean, why aren't things hidden and encrypted better in the files? I'll just never understand that. But that's the thing, right? If they're going to be careless and have things out there like that, then why strike people for talking about it? It's unnecessary. It's such a joke. But I mean, take somebody like Geeky Pastimes for once, right? He entered the zombies community, or I should say the Call of Duty community, through data mining, got in trouble for it, so he stopped doing it, and then, you know, slowly, little by little, gained Activision's trust after pawn takes pawn, and now considers data mining a sin as if it never happened before. So it's really goofy to see the roller coaster that is the data mining community for Call of Duty. But CharlieINTEL even reported on the data mine perks as well, so it'll be hilariously unethical to see if this video ends up disappearing. We also have information from the man himself, Noah J456, surprisingly, right? Out of all people, he ended up posting a sponsored video talking about the Ray Rifle. Now, in-game, with the after-action report, it showed somebody a picture of the Die Shockwave, but the icon was incorrect. The icon itself was showing the Hellfire, or the Purifier, from Black Ops 4. So looking at that, right, it looks exactly the same as the Hellfire, so you could say it's a reused asset or a placeholder icon, sure, but it has a small green tint to it, which makes it seem like it was something different from the Hellfire in Black Ops 4. Maybe the base model of the Ray Rifle was based off of the Purifier or Hellfire, and then they were gonna tweak it later, but it may seem like that weapon itself may have been cut early on to the point where there wasn't a new model made for it, but anything is possible with that. The Ray Rifle could end up being a DLC weapon in the future, and it was supposed to be in the Maschine, but they held it back. Who knows what the truth is with that, but as of now, I wouldn't say confidently that that is the icon of the Ray Rifle. If it said Ray Rifle with that icon on the after action report, then I would believe this more, but as of now, it just looks like, for whatever reason, the placeholder icon of the Die Shockwave was at one point the Hellfire. Now, if you remember, back in Classified, there were blueprints in the lab showing us the ray gun Mark IV and Mark V, which we never saw. Maybe they were the weapons for Alpha Omega, they got changed to the ray gun Mark II elemental variants. Maybe they were being saved for Tagler Toten or for the Victis remakes that were supposed to come out. Who knows what happened to them, but maybe the Ray Rifle is going to resemble one of those ray guns on the blueprints. Maybe you combine the Mark IV and Mark V to a larger Ray Rifle. Who knows what's going to happen with that, if it ever happens at some point in the future. But people have also pointed out that the Die Shockwave does strangely resemble the jet gun from Black Ops 2, not because of just the appearance itself, but because of one of the abilities the actual Shockwave does, being able to absorb the zombies to gain ammo. So maybe the Shockwave was at one point a remastered or redefined version of the jet gun that was supposed to be in a Transit remake, and because of COVID, things like wonder weapons, assets, characters, all types of things have been juggled, scrapped, and moved around to different projects that Treyarch is working on. I wouldn't be surprised with that at all. But let me know your thoughts on that down below. below in the comments. Now, something that I haven't seen anybody talk about here on YouTube yet is regarding Firebase Z. So the rumored Vietnam Zombies experience may have already been seen in its entirety throughout the second mission of the Black Ops Cold War campaign. So in Fractured Jaw, towards the very end, you hop into a Hind and you have to defend the Firebase area. Now, this Firebase area is shockingly detailed despite not even landing or walking around this area at all. So it would not surprise me if this entire area gets reused for a zombies map. And it's a beautiful looking area too. Just look at how gorgeous the background is here on Firebase, the skyline, the actual surrounding mountains. It looks amazing. So seeing this as a zombies map would be fantastic and it wouldn't shock me whatsoever. And you know what? There were plenty of rumors before release about Firebase Z Vietnam being on disc or Transit being on disc, and these rumors came from very reputable people. So with that being said, all I could assume is that those maps were fairly far along in development but got moved, changed, or delayed for whatever reason. So we could end up seeing Firebase as soon as DLC 1. Now, if the theory is true that all future zombies maps are remakes similar to Maschine, I'm not sure how the community is going to feel about that, but we know from the Maschine intro and intel on the map itself that there are zombies outbreaks going around not only in Vietnam, but also in Berlin, the Ural Mountains. So here's how they can make that work, right? Somehow they can incorporate Shinonuma onto Firebase. Who knows how that'll work, but I'm sure they'll find a way. They could very easily throw in Kino onto the Berlin map, that's a given. But with the Ural Mountains, this is where things get interesting, right? They could throw in a multiplayer experience like WMD or Summit and somehow twist that for a zombies map. That's how they can make that work. I know and I feel you guys that you guys want brand new original experiences with the Black Ops Cold War season. I feel that, trust me, but with the way things are going, with budget, COVID, and all these other weird things going on, I would not be surprised to see remakes with every single map. Now, I'll give Maschine a pass. It's a solid experience, even though Noct is in it, but I can see why people would be upset if they continue that trend with every single upcoming map. Now, something that also really surprised me was a message of the day that popped up for somebody, which somehow showed a logo for Black Ops 5 instead of Black Ops Cold War. So this goes back to what I was saying many months ago, that this game didn't have a title that they were happy with for quite some time. Call of Duty 2020 went under several different names, and I think at one point it was Black Ops by itself, you know, like Modern Warfare 2019, then it was Black Ops 5, then it was Call of Duty Vietnam, Call of Duty Cold War, then they ended up with Black Ops Cold War. But if you had to ask me, I would say when this game was a Sledgehammer and Raven title, it probably was just called Call of Duty Vietnam or Call of Duty Cold War to be an active sequel to World War II from 2017. And then when Treyarch stepped in, Activision was like, all right, how do we call this a Black Ops game? And we ended up getting what we got. But with the Black Ops 5 logo, it was pretty much what I predicted if they would have done Black Ops 5. The V stood for 5 and Vietnam, which to me is perfect. I'm not a fan of how that logo ended up turning out. I know my good buddy Fajardi came up with a much better logo for a Black Ops 5, as you can see on screen. But there you have it, proof that this game was a 5th Black Ops at one point. But you can see now why it's not a 5th Black Ops game. It's a loose sequel to the Black Ops 1 campaign and then goes in a new direction entirely with zombies, thanks to the ending of Tag der Toten. Now, we also have a surprise teaser for Victis that I would be shocked to not see expanded upon in a future map. So if you go into the Pack-a-Punch area of Die Maschine, you'll hear the following voices. Now keep in mind, this may not be Victis, it could be anybody stuck in the Dark Ether, but with Craig Hewson at the helm of this new Dark Ether story, how silly would it be to not get some type of answer to what happened to Victis, right? They didn't die in Tag der Toten, he purposely kept them alive inside the Dark Ether, so one of two things is gonna happen, right? We'll end up learning something about them through intel in a future map, and then that's it, they just get stuck in the Dark Ether, we never see them again, or they can come out of the Dark Ether at some point to assist us in some objective, maybe like with the lore of the Dark Ether, if they end up coming out, they'll end up looking a lot different from what we're used to, right? Instead of their human forms, they'll look all demented and tortured and demonic, because things that get stuck in the Dark Ether don't always come out the same. There's always a change with people that end up in there. So let's just see what happens with Victis in the future. But aside from the obvious Victis remakes that we're supposed to see at some point, I think seeing Victis return in some way is almost a guarantee in Black Ops Cold War. But I know people are probably going to say, oh, but at the end of Tag, they said that it was the end of the arcs for Primus, Ultimus, and Victis. And I'm like, are you kidding me? They didn't kill Victis off at the end of Tag, and they're in the Dark Ether. Now we have this full Dark Dark Ether story in Black Ops Cold War, are you seriously gonna tell me that Victis has no chance of coming back, even if it's just a small cameo through intel or confirmation they died, or even them returning in the form of beasts or monsters that look demented? Even if it's something, I'm sure Craig Houston will be creative with some type of closure for their group, right? They got no closure in Tagler Toten. It's like they're not gonna give away the return of Victis. If Craig didn't say that it was the end of Victis's arc in Black Ops 4, it would almost tell the community that, hey, the story's not really done after Tag, Victis is gonna survive. And on top of that, it will kind of spoil that they're gonna have some role in Black Ops Cold War. So they gotta keep secrets somehow, right? Even if it is quote unquote slightly misleading within their Q&As that they do over at Treyarch Studios. But last and definitely not least, a bit of a secret that I shouldn't be saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. There has been some really interesting information found about the following Easter egg songs that are supposed to be in Black Ops Cold War. The songs are Carry On from Transit, we have Beauty of Annihilation from Derice, we have 115 from Kino, and the one from Shino Numa. Why those songs are in Black Ops Cold War are a bit unknown. Have they been found yet? No. So are there some really interesting music Easter eggs that haven't been found yet? That is a possibility. Or is it a bit ironic that those happen to be the same remakes that we're expecting to see in Black Ops Cold War as well, right? Transit's a given, so Carry On makes sense. Now the Derice could be expanded upon if they end up doing a new German zombies map, and I believe Germany is mentioned quite a bit in the Maschine intel, so Beauty of Annihilation definitely makes sense that they end up doing another giant remake. Now with Kino, we talked about this already, very easy map to see return since we have Berlin of course, and I believe the coordinates of Berlin in the Maschine intro do match exactly where the Kino theater is, so there's your answer with that one. But I could easily see the actual outside area of the theater on the main street as a playable area. The song 115 is also a banger, so I'd love to see that song remixed at some point soon. And then with Shino Numa, we talked about this too. I can't really see this one returning, but I guess they could find a way to make this work on Firebase, so the song The One definitely makes sense to see at some point as well. But is it really a coincidence that the songs that were found in Black Ops Cold War happen to match the exact maps that are being teased, and also are the maps that we expect to be remakes in Black Ops Cold War's DLC season? Let me know your thoughts on that down below. But to close off this video as well, we got confirmation from Treyarch and Foxhound that the way that weapon leveling works right now in zombies is as intended. I'm not sure how that makes any sense to any sane person in the community, but with the community backlash, I'm sure they'll end up changing this at some point in the next couple of weeks. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you guys think about the release date of DLC 1, debunking the fake news, these Victis teasers, and the surprise that we just went over about a minute ago? I really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.